Oh, the first time I ever saw him, was in Stone's studio, and he just came in as a little courtesy call. I think he must have been with a show. He was doing something, and he was teaching him his finger thing, and you know what they were playing?
Stone?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was teaching him this. Only 3 times softer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's the nature of the lick. I mean, Ravel wrote that lick for some nutty reason. I don't know. And there's all kinds of stories about Ravel and that piece.
So what was it about Billy that was so special?
That he was dig your own way into it, and don't be sloppy. Be relaxed. Don't be sloppy. I don't know if I actually saw the guy that was doing it, but he had a guy that came in and he had this whatever. He was into Billy's grip, sort of, but then it became this. He's relaxed. It was also wrong. The guy never came back for another lesson. So I think Billy told him to walk. You're missing the thing.
So when you say Billy's grip, like, is it it's his?
No, it's no different from it. Yeah, it is his in that it's the same as anybody else has. You have the rest, you have the grip, and you have the clamp, right? So fingers went over, and a finger went under. So this one pushes it down, this one lifts it up. You know, it's like squeezing a ball, which was evidently Murray Spivak's thing. You squeeze a ball and then put the stick in where the ball used to be, and this is what you get. So now whether that's a myth or not, I don't know. Ed Thigpen had a couple of lessons from him, and he said that's what he was always about, squeeze the ball. As like Billy Gladstone's thing, he said, nothing should feel more complicated than right, left, right, left, right. And that would be after he had turned around and done some, and he discovered while he was doing all that, he was actually playing paradiddle. And he could do that. This like, Jesus, I should go practice. Yeah. Billy was really loose and he encouraged you. He encouraged you to play whatever it is that you wanted to play, as long as you didn't play wrong. As long as you had a this thing that was his and maybe Murray Spivak's. I don't know where any of those guys got that finger bounce thing from, but it was Billy would say play relaxed, and the handhold was relaxed. I mean this is pretty relaxed handhold, right? And then that thing of crushing that like he could play a 4-stroke rough. Now make 4-stroke rough not as wide as you would think a 16th note. Make it as wide as the stem of the note, and you go what, right? And it is doable. Yeah. There's no problem with that. But it was a concept at the time. Who is this guy? Well, I've actually done that with students. I say, play it this wide, and they say you can't play that. It's impossible. So no, because Billy played when he arrived here, when he arrived in New York. He was just a little kid, because 7, 8, 9 years old.
Where's he from?
Hungary.
Oh.
And he was he was intrigued with upright pianos, because they have, you push the key down and the hammer come back and hit the string. And he thought, if you could harness that, and that's what he did. That's what this thing is, And nothing ever feels more complicated than right, left, right, left. Just watch the piano, because it knows what it's doing. It's just.
Is that something he would say?
No, I did hear him say to somebody that the piano knows what it's doing, And I think that was for people who couldn't get past because you couldn't do it, but the piano knew how that worked, so. Just watch the hammers playing on the upright string. There were stories. Billy went on the road. He didn't go out with Camelot. He went out with My Fair Lady, and this was like the national company, and it was. I think it was 14 months work. And they checked into a hotel somewhere in Chicago. And Billy went out and found a piano and had it sent up to his hotel room. And for the entire run of that thing, what Billy did was put this piano back in incredible condition. And then he refinished it, and he did. It was evidently a total work of art, and then he would give it to the hotel. Say, here's your present for putting up with me for all these months. Right? So, now that one I got that from Teddy Reed, and Joe Morello had heard the same. Well, with Billy, I met Billy in Ted Reed's studio, and I just said straight up to him, I want to buy one of your drums because I want to play it, and if this is the last thing in this world I do, I will find a way to play that instrument. And that was cool with him, and he made me a drum. There was a line of Gladstone drums. Huge bass drums with tone control or mufflers, whatever you want to call them, and he had the bass drum would have been like 24 or 26 inches, maybe 26, maybe more. I'm not really sure. 16-inch floor tom, and then two rack toms. Only one of them that I can remember that Billy ever used. But he had all the guys that were in the hotels and all the guys that were on the flashy bands and that played on the radio and everything. They all endorsed his drums. And
they bought them.
Yeah. So he didn't give them a drums and say, here, I'll give you this drum and make sure that everybody knows that I made it. It wasn't like that at all. It was just like it was like you want my drums? They're going to cost you whatever it's going to cost you, and that was the end of it. Like when he made me the drum, it was $250 for the drum, and everybody else had paid $250 for the drum. He wasn't giving me a discount.
Yeah. And how much do you think they're worth now?
Oh, I'd hate to think. The guy from San Francisco, Chet Falzerano, decided he was going to create a Billy Gladstone drum museum, but he wasn't at least been interested in those sets of drums. He was just in his
snare.
in his snare drum, yeah, which I think was a 15-inch drum, but it might have been a 14-inch drum. And I think I think the concert drum was really deep, like 6.5 or something like that. Wasn't allowed to play his drum?
Yeah.
Oh, the golden drum. Oh no, nobody was allowed to touch that drum unless I don't know what happened. Because I got to play it. I got to play it in Teddy Reed's studio. He kept that drum in Teddy's studio. But I think that was just so he could have a place to go, and when he was bored, or he wanted to talk to Ruth, to Teddy's wife, he would.
What was that drum? What was playing on it like?
It was actually the first time I played on his drum. It scared me witless. I just absolutely, I flipped. I couldn't. I had never played an instrument like that, and then to think that I'm playing on his drum, the one like the guys in the orchestra took that drum out and had it gold plated. Now who does that for somebody? Oh, he liked all kinds of guys playing, man. He was just, and he was very gentlemanly about it. Because I tell you, the first time that I met him in Teddy's studio, and Billy never swore. He didn't smoke. I don't think he drank either, but he didn't swear. Didn't chew tobacco, didn't do any of that dumb thing. So I'm playing on Teddy's pad, and then go over and play on the drum. And Billy said, you got really nice technique. Why do you play so goddamn loud? And what? And I knew he never swore. I knew that, So I was like, God, do I play loud? Do I play? Oh God! And that seriously. Well, I think that was the other thing. Now I'm going to buy one of your drums. God damn it, I'm going to play it, and that's what went down. But the fact that somebody thought I played loud, it was a mystery to me, because I didn't think I played loud. Oh. I would have loved to have been there. And I'm trying to think who told the story, and then the story got to Teddy Reed. Anyway, in Radio City, this great big velour. I mean, it's a huge proscenium arch. It's really like probably 80, 90 feet across. Hello. And there's a curtain that pulls away, and then there's a curtain that comes up, which is the inside, like the fire curtain kind of thing. But it's nice red velour or maroon velour, whatever it was. Anyway, you can hear this. I thought it was a fan, and I don't think there was air conditioning then at that time. But I remember first time I heard him in there in the house was this. It went on and went on and went on, and all of a sudden the curtain starts coming up, and this roll gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's absolutely gigantic. And then there's this cymbal crash, and the pit band is into playing whatever the overture is. And anyway, Buddy ran out of the room, ran straight up to the back of the hall and got out of there. Was gone in a flash.
So, like, why do you think he left?
Because it must have scared him out of his mind. And in fact, he did say there's a DVD or something somewhere where he said a lot of people that know me well know I'm not very modest. But he said, I heard, he said something about that Billy Gladstone had the greatest role in the whole wide world. and Buddy didn't. So it was like, yeah, it was like that.
Do you think he felt like beat?
I would think he would be mortified, because he would be sitting in there, you know, all 5'3" of them. Show me, you know. It's I don't think he ever put down anybody like Max or Klug Clark or any. I don't. No, because he respected jazz players. I mean, he used to Joe Jones 78s off the Basie band. He had them all. Had them right there in that studio downstairs. Put this on it. Listen to this, and then he would leave the room to go do something else, and he'd say, "Play with that." Oh, and then he'd go in there, and put the thing back on, and do it again, do it again, do it again.
Did you do that?
Yeah, because it was that's the way it happened then. Because there was no jazz studies programs anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was certainly no jazz studies at the only a couple of universities I knew, like at Juilliard, there was no jazz studies program at Juilliard then, and Solly Goodman was on the faculty, and Solly would have made sure it never happened. I'm sure of that. But there was no internet. There was, like I said, there was black and white TV. The world hadn't even got color yet, you know. It's a lot of shit had happened. I'll tell you one thing I do remember, and it took me about 2 dates to find out why they asked it. You'd phone up some guy and say, I'm looking for work, and I played with this guy and I played with that guy, but I'm not making enough money to live on, and they would always say, can you play the rudiments? They would all say this, all these leaders that couldn't blow their nose for the most part. And all they were interested in was, at that time, you had, it was a law. I think if there was more than 50 people assembled for any reason whatsoever, even to play bingo, you know, you would, everybody would stand up at the end of the gig and they would sing God Save the Queen. So the drum part for God Save the Queen is this, forever, just one long roll. And so if you couldn't play the roll, you couldn't do their gig. So you got one kick at the can, and if you had this roll go through God Save the Queen, you would have the next week, the next gig if his regular drummer was doing whatever, you know, or that way you would go on that drummer's sub list, and that's the way it worked. And that's for about $12.25 a night, I think.